Hello and welcome back to the House of the Stag podcast. It's time to discuss episode 6 of House of the Dragon, The Princess and the Queen, and we are yet again joined by our buddy Josh from Constantine Films today. As always, I did my review, so let's hear it. What do you guys have?
A lot better than 5.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite one so far, actually. When I watched it the second time around, it surpassed episode 4, which was previous best one for me.
Yeah. I have like one minor complaint with this episode, but we'll get into that later. But like this episode was like, I mean, it's so good. Like the dialogue and everything is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah, like that one montage, that voiceover with Larry Strong. That is I kind of want to go back to all the videos I made during like the press run of House of the Dragon, where I kept saying, "Oh, I don't know about the dialogue. I hope it's gonna be good. We don't have anything in Fire and Blood." Like I kind of want to go back, just like with that scene on my mobile phone and just show it to that dumbass person. Like it's so good. It's oh my god. Wow. Larry Strong actually, like Matthew Needham, the guy who plays him, that is the MVP of the episode for me. Even though like Emma Darcy and Olivia Cooke completely knocked it out of the park in this episode. It's
Yeah.
still Matthew Needham.
We got Soon or Late, and we have Mayhaps. That's what I look for.
I watched the official House of the Dragon podcast a bit earlier, and Miguel, or was it in the behind the scenes one? I can't remember, but he said essentially that we were introduced to one of the villains, and he said it's Laris.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Laris is gonna be like a proper villain, because like right and up until this point, I never really thought of him as like he's like Baelish, but I didn't think he was like bad. But like now he's definitely bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he killed his father and brother.
Literally.
I mean, like, before this, everyone's like, oh, Otto is Littlefinger. I'm like, yo, Otto
Yeah.
is not Littlefinger. This is
Nah.
Littlefinger.
Yeah.
But that is every
Littlefinger plus Varys is Laris.
But that is
Yes.
every episode now. Like people just go, "That is Littlefinger. That is Littlefinger."
It
Like
is
those,
Littlefinger.
like
Yeah.
kind of like that meme where all the monkeys are sitting around the table. Where is Littlefinger? Like that is just what's happening. So, what do
Yeah,
you
man.
guys think about our new Rhaenyra and our new Alicent?
Yeah, they're great. It's just like they're both really good actors. The only problem is I wish Allison doesn't go full bitchy like right away. I get it, it's 10 years. Like even the last episode, yeah, she was afraid of like something might happen to Aegon or whatnot. Now she's just full on the offensive, which I'm just like, yo, can you relax for like a second?
Yeah, I thought that as well, but then I kind of realized that that's not really the actress. It's all in her lines. When I watched it the first time, I had sort of the same things like, wow, she really did change a lot. Like she is Allison as we know her now.
Right.
And then I thought that's because of the way Olivia was playing her intentionally. But then I just like paid attention to, the way she was written, and it's very much like, she's written to be Allison now.
That is the thing with this 10-year time jump. See, I think they were scared that it was not enough action, too much politics, too much characters talking in rooms. So I think that is the reason why they are moving as fast as they are. Otherwise, who knows, maybe we would have gotten a full season with Millie Alcock and Emily Carey. So you always like kind of had this problem of connecting these actors and these different characters. But I think overall they've done a pretty solid job. The earlier scenes we have with Rhaenyra, I see quite a lot of Millie Alcock in the way she talks to Laenor. Because even with Millie Alcock, it didn't start out like that. She grew into her role as heir to the Iron Throne, and I think it continues. But obviously, as you guys said, Alicent is pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just going full sicko mode every second. I'm like,
I love the
give me
way
a
she
little
just
time.
grabbed Aegon's face.
I never thought I would like love Aegon. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy's chill. Like he
Yeah.
just people are gonna compare him to Joffrey for obvious reasons because he's
Yeah.
kind of a bully, kind of that Malfoy thing going on. But
Yeah.
like he's not that mean, But he gets
Yeah.
along with the Velaryon kids just fine until his mom is like, oh, you can't hang out with the Velaryon kids anymore. Blah 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 blah. He's like, can I just beat my meat and enjoy my day? I don't want to be king. Yeah.
I really like the way they're going about Aegon because like I honestly thought when I saw that promo and I just saw his face, I was like, okay, they're definitely gonna go for like a Joffrey vibe here. But I really like the way they went about it because you can tell that like for me, when I read Fire and Blood, I never got the impression that Aegon was like a Joffrey. I always got the impression that he just wants to like have sex, just like do his own thing, not care about anyone or anything, and then he was like sort of forced into his position. Sure, he's still a bad person. He still
Yeah.
does bad things, but not because like I think he just doesn't care. Like he just wants to like do his own things. I don't think he's
Yeah.
evil.
When Joffrey plays a prank, he kills like Tommen's cats or threatens
Yeah.
to. Aegon like pranks his friends and brothers and nephews all the time, but he's actually just trying to have fun. You
Yeah.
know, he's not like, oh, I hate you all, so I'll embarrass you. But he embarrassed them, and but in like a brotherly kind of manner, and know when to stop, kind of.
Exactly. I also
Yeah.
like how they went about the fact that Jace and Luke were with Aegon when they were like bullying
Bully
Aemond.
Aemon. That I
Yeah,
did
because
not see
like they,
that coming.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, they could have went the route of like strong boys versus Targaryen boys. They could have done that, but I significantly prefer the fact that they're just kids having fun, just teasing
Yeah.
each other, you know. And like
Right.
even when Aegon when they're like in the training yard, like it there
Yeah.
doesn't feel like there's any animosity there. It just feels like they're kids. They tease each other. That's just what kids do, you know.
Yeah. Until Kristen started going all
Yeah,
toxic.
yeah,
Yeah, Kristen
Yeah.
is like, Rhaenyra is a spoiled cunt. And then 10 minutes later, we get the actual spoiled cunt, and it's Aegon.
yeah.
Like that, like, man.
Aegon was just like messing around until like Kristen encouraged him to be more competitive and toxic. He's just lazy. He's just messing around.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of Helena's dragon dreams? Or, it's a theory, but I think it's a pretty strong one.
Well, that's something they made up on the spot because like no one knows anything about Helena other than like
She
she's
was nice.
nice,
That's
and then
it.
something important happens to her.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then she's never the same after that, so that's pretty much
Yeah,
it.
Those are
I
the
don't know.
things that Game of Thrones didn't bother with. All the magical aspects. And I think that's just Ryan Condal or the writers in general pulling from
Yeah,
the Song of Ice and Fire lore and just saying, okay, well, Game of Thrones didn't bother to, so why not implement it here? And that makes the character interesting, more interesting if that's really what they're going for. So
hmm
I hope we get some Tark dreams. It would actually make the character even more tragic and
yeah.
jeez.
I'm just surprised. Like Aegon, Aemon, Helena, Jace, and Luke are all pretty likable right now. All
Yeah.
five of them. Not one of them. Like Aemon is, kind of, he's getting bullied, so he's kind of like gloomy all the time. But no one is
Yeah.
like unlikable right now. They're all
Yeah, because they're
cool.
just kids. You could
Yeah,
excuse their shortcomings as to them just being kids, you know?
yeah,
Also, like, I don't know if you guys like think this as well, or if this is what you took away from it, but I very much get the impression that Kristen was trying to prove a point when he was, sort of vexing Harwin on to hit him.
yeah,
Like, he was
Yeah.
definitely trying to make Viserys see, because like Harwin was not trying to hide it. He was very emotional, you know.
yeah.
And then Kristen was like on the ground laughing. I mean, for all Kristen's flaws, he can take a punch, you
Right.
know.
Yeah, that is like okay, sorry, that is where the MMA nerd comes in. Like I hate when movies do that, like have the most vicious Khabib fucking esque ground and pound and no one ever gets slapped. Like they just
Yeah.
take it and he's laughing there like, oh no, brother, you've
It,
never been to Dagestan, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with gauntlets on, your face would just be in absolute pain.
Yeah. But
Well,
but
I'm
anyway.
glad Kristen didn't beat Harwin. That's refreshing to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys concerned that Harwin gets fired right away and Kristen just walking around having dinged Joffrey last episode with no consequence?
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like last episode's problem
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
I feel like we just have to sort of move on from that. It's just a bit of lazy writing. Like it's
Yeah.
not a big thing.
It's not
It's
even
okay.
lazy writing, other than I feel like they just don't want to do another turning.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I think you could easily just the explanation is just that, okay, Alicent obviously has her way with Viserys. She was just like, listen, she obviously just spun the story and then boom, you know?
Yeah. You can also, how I see it, I could see like Lionel kind of makes sure Harwin gets fired so he can be safe in Harrenhal instead of having all
Yeah,
the enemies around in King's Landing, and that will be
exactly.
a threat to his life.
Yeah, Lionel deserved better, man.
Yeah,
Damn,
he did.
he was a good ass dude.
Good dude.
Lost his beautiful locks too. Like, what else do you want
Yeah,
Yeah.
to lose? Lost everything.
yeah, yeah. These 10 years have been rough.
Yeah, speaking about rough, my man Viserys just has one arm now. That's crazy.
I said this last time, but I really, really like the changes they're going, the direction they're going in with Viserys. I can't remember if it says exactly how he died in Fire and Blood.
I think he tripped on the Iron Throne, right, and cut himself pretty badly. Then he was healed up, but he never truly, like, fully recovered from that, I think. So it
Oh,
goes into
okay.
the same kind of direction, but I mean, they turned it up to like 180 in House of the Dragon.
Yeah. I think it's a very, very cool change. Because, like, if we had Viserys, still normal Viserys from episode 1 now, it would not be the same show. I just don't think so. It would be very, very different.
Yeah, it's also
Yeah.
interesting. Like, finally, after 6 episodes, and that's not to say that I didn't enjoy Viserys so far. That is when they had the scene with Rhaenyra and him. That is book Viserys. It was very
Yeah.
wholesome, and I think they played the other way around. They're gonna have him get weaker and weaker, and that's why he just loses his fire. So a lot of book readers, a lot of people were pretty pissed about that whole Laena stuff, and that surprised me because obviously, if you go to Twitter a day before, everyone already saw the leaks or whatever, or people read the leaks and then complain without seeing the actual scene. So I saw that they are pretty pissed, and that surprised me. So, what's your guys' take on it?
Well, what are they pissed about?
That they changed it from like Lena showing so much endurance, like she was in labor for a couple of days and then she lost the baby anyway. She fought pretty hard and then wanted to ride Vega for the last time. And they're pissed about that because that
Yeah,
it was suicide basically. I
I think
would,
it's fine.
yeah, I do too. I think the book version is better, but I think this one is really good as well. So it's a weird spot.
As I mentioned in the beginning, this was my one problem with the episode. And I actually prefer Lena being killed by Vhagar. I think it's not as like tragic perhaps, but it's more thematically like consistent with her character. My problem with that whole situation, and I'll talk about Damon in a second. My problem with that is how on earth she could stand up, walk away, get outside without anyone noticing. For me, what would have been much better was if she had a conversation with Damon, told him this and this and this. She had a conversation with her children first, and Damon went outside with her, stood back, and then Vhagar incinerated her. I just think that would have been much better, and we wouldn't have the problem of Laena just being Gendry, just Flash Gordoning down the stairs, and boom, she's outside. You know.
Yeah.
Because also, the other problem with that is that Lena, it just seems like, doesn't even care about her children. She just like walks out and kills herself without even saying goodbye. You know?
Yeah. I see your point. I think that's a problem in general. Like they have deleted a scene of Damon comforting his daughters
Yeah,
for whatever
yeah,
reason.
yeah. I thought at first it might be due to like time because the episode was already the longest in the season, but at the same time they have like very very long scenes that could have been trimmed down as well. So I think definitely was a character decision because also like on the podcast I listened to earlier, Miguel said they shot like a bunch of different versions or like a different takes for certain scenes, and then they'll pick and choose as they're editing which ones seem the best considering the rest of the episode, which is an interesting filmmaking, way of going about it. But whatever works. I'm not really sure how I feel about Damon. I think for his character, walking away because he doesn't know what to say makes sense. I mean, Damon definitely seems like the kind of guy who doesn't know how to talk to his children. But I do think that him comforting his children would have been much more impactful overall.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think they're just kind of worried about portraying him as too much of a good guy, and then it's just logical that a father would be there for his daughters when the mother dies. So
Yeah.
I don't know what drove them to delete this scene. It doesn't ruin the plot for me or anything like that, but I would have preferred to have that scene just as much as I would have actually liked to have that scene with young Rhaenyra and young Alicent going after each other in like episode 2 or 3 or whatever it was. But yeah, to get to another topic, I gotta say, George, you were right. Dorne and the Triarchy are working together already.
Yeah, as I expected, Cora Martell.
Famous leaker, Ross Stannis.
Yeah, I was like, I think eventually they'll try to bring Dorne into the dance. Like they will send diplomats there. I wonder if they will send like Sir Kristen.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe later on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can do with Dawn because there's nothing you can do with Dawn. Yeah, you know, you can sort of
Yeah.
play around with the politics of Dawn a bit. I'm interested to see what they do with the whole Triarchy situation. It doesn't really evolve into something too much bigger. A bit later on in the show, perhaps, but for now, not really. So I'm interested
I mean,
to see where that goes.
Battle of the Gullet is the biggest battle.
Yeah, yeah, but that's much later on. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's 6 years later.
Season 2 episode, let's say halfway through.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say like 5, 6.
I do hope they like give us more time to develop Jace though, because Battle of the
Yeah.
Gullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing that I'd like to know what you guys think about is whether the show is not moving too fast, but not really letting us connect to the characters as much. Because this is not something that I necessarily feel because I know how all the characters end up. So like certain characters like Laena and Harwin and some of them I know they die, so I don't get attached anyway. But like I see a lot of people who, because I know a lot of people who obviously didn't read the source material and they're like, I don't have time to connect to these characters, and then I have to
Yeah.
explain to them that these are minor characters in Fire and Blood. They have like 2 lines of descriptions. They're not a huge part of the story. The real story is only going to start, once the final time skip happens. So what do you guys think about like the way they're handling this amount of characters in such a sort of convoluted timeline?
Again, I think it's just down to them not trusting the audience to get through a whole season of just politics and building up this heir to the Iron Throne. I think that's really just what it all came down to. You gotta remember, this franchise was in a very bad spot just a couple of months ago. No one believed in it, except for a couple of people like us. The hardcores. But when I talk to my friends who are not that into Game of Thrones or whatever, all they ever say is like, season 8 bad, yada yada yada. And I think it's just down to this being the very first project. They wanted to move as fast to the actual dance as they could. So they just went, okay, we are gonna have Harwin do this, and we're gonna create a few scenes that are gonna be iconic. I mean, Harwin punching Kristen Cole is gonna be Tyrion slapping Joffrey. That's gonna be replayed
Exactly.
for years. So they're gonna
Exactly.
they have those moments, but they're careful with it. They don't want to scare the audience away with too much mayhaps.
I just think I get it. Like some audience might think that you don't spend enough time with the characters and it goes too quick. But also, it's like because when George was writing Princess and the Queen and all that, he was just writing short story and fake history and stuff. He wasn't expecting the spin-off. Or like if he had a television story in mind, I don't think he would create Laena at all because I think she kind of does drag down the pace a little bit.
Yeah, because I think especially like next episode, this is a spoiler by the way, Rhaenyra and Daemon are just gonna hook up again after a funeral, which is gonna undermine Daemon's love for Laena, which we didn't see on screen at all. So now it just sort of seems like Laena was just a side piece for Daemon, even though in Fire and Blood he really did love her. But how can they do it any other way? They are in an extremely difficult position in trying to create a story that is essentially unadaptable because of the time. How can you possibly fit 30 years of a story into 10 episodes without it being extremely confusing? They're doing a really, really good job so far. And like the thing that I'm constantly thinking to myself is, if it's this good already, how much better is it going to be next season when we won't be jumping back and forth the whole time? You know, because
It's
like
so
what we're
right.
seeing now is literally just the prologue. You know,
Yeah.
they didn't need to show us any of this. They
It's
didn't. They
so
really
funny.
didn't need to. You know,
Yeah.
they could have literally just started with the Battle of Storm's End. They could have started right there. You know, but they didn't. They wanted to
Yeah.
show us all this. You know, the best parts have not even happened yet. Not even close. You know, nothing in these first 6 episodes have been massively consequential to the story, except the strong boys just existing.
It's so
Yeah.
funny that you say that because I keep thinking about exactly what you just said. We're just gonna have a month of House of the Dragon now, and then we won't see the show until 2024 most likely. That is where all the good shit happens. You know, that is where it's all going down, and we're gonna get a taste of it, I think, towards the end of the season with a certain Bloodraven looking individual.
Yeah.
After that, it's just a waiting game.
Because this show just has the extra burden of having to like make all these kids, Luce, Jace, Joffrey, and then Aemon, Aegon, Helena, and Daron. Whereas in Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, Ned has 6 kids and Cersei has 3. And that's as if Game of Thrones starts with the end of Robert's rebellion and then you watch slowly Ned and Kat having multiple kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
those all
really, it's a
went to
really, really
Rickon.
difficult thing to
Yeah.
do. It's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, they're just structured differently, so you have a
Mm.
different experience. But yeah,
Yeah.
But different.
I wonder what the people who haven't read Fire and Blood are thinking right now of the story. Because like I see a lot of people saying, oh, these time jumps are really, really jarring and it's very abrupt and they don't like it. Like, how can you possibly please everyone? Because if they didn't have the time jumps, we would be watching a completely different story. Honestly, creating a faithful story is much more important than pleasing everyone. So I'm very happy with the show so far.
Oh, I think they
Yeah.
are pleased. Like, you just give them a couple of badass scenes with Rhaenyra and Cyrix and a couple of
Yeah.
badass scenes with Daemon, and they're gonna be happy.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about, if we're talking about the casual audience, they don't care about,
Yeah.
like, Larry Strong or, you know, the Maester's Conspiracy. They care about Dragon. I see Dragon, I like. It is, like, legitimately what it's all about. And then none of these people are gonna talk about season 1 anymore once we actually get to all the war stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's just gonna be, oh my god, I can't believe Aemon did this or Daemon did that. It's
that's
Yeah.
basically it. I wonder why Aemon did this, Damon did that. That's the whole dance.
Literally, that's the entire dance. Literally. Yeah, no, because I replied to someone on like I don't think it was Twitter. I can't remember what it was. I replied to someone where they said like there's nothing happening in the show, and I think I said something along the lines of tell me what happened in season 1 episode 4 of Game of Thrones. Fucking tell me, you know?
Yeah.
So like just give it time. You know, those iconic big moments will come. We are
Yeah.
witnessing those small scenes that are gonna have like millions of views in a few years, and people are gonna be saying, "Oh, the scene was so good." That and that. We seeing this. We are not seeing the big battle episodes that are going to be instant hits yet. You know, so let's just give it some time.
Yeah, so you see, obviously we're just going based off the opinion of that one guy you talked to, but like now imagine them actually taking time to like spend 3 episodes to say, well, this is Harwin. Harwin is the son of Lionel, and he's gonna be he's the commander of the city watch. He's taking over Damon's old place, and like imagine them taking that time. Like I would have appreciated it, sure. Like give me some more fucking gold clothes, give me more squalor. I'm down for this shit, but I'm also fine with the 10-year time skip.
Yeah.
10 years!
Oh god, why did that take so long? Why did that take so long?
Yeah.
And not once did you make me your hand. Why would I do that? Because I'm your brother. Jesus, that scene is so good. Oh my god.
It's so good.
Also, like the people don't think like this episode is funny, which is true. It's one of the more serious episodes. But like Damon was like, "Valeria's gone. We don't belong anywhere." It was like super funny to me. He's like, "We belong in Westeros." He's like, "No, we don't. We don't belong anywhere."
And he also said like like the children that have a striking resemblance to the commander of the City Watch. Like we don't need MCU comedy in A Song of Ice and Fire. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Like this show is has plenty of funny moments. You know, like one funny moment per episode is enough for me. I don't need any more than that.
I thought Pink Dread was also pretty funny. Like I felt
Yeah, no, that was
bad for-
definitely
It
funny.
was funny. I
Yeah,
had
it was
to
definitely
look it up to see if it was already there because I don't remember that scene. Yeah.
Pink Dread.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pink Dread. I was like, is this a Clayton Suggs reference? Did you just do this to me? Fucking
Yeah.
famous, worst, least moral standard man of all time, Clayton Suggs.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole Pink Dread thing is like something that should be in Fire and Blood. Like that is
Yeah.
such a George thing to do. Like the little people riding around and at Joffrey's wedding, and you know, pigs dressed up as dragons. I feel like that's such a George thing to do.
I feel like if you ask Ryan Condal who Clayton Suggs is, he would know it.
Yeah. The way he fucking talks about this show is
Decadence.
insane.
Don't forget Decadence. Don't forget the Decadence.
Yeah.
Decadence.
So we really visit the Targaryens in a time of decadence, and
And the height of their power.
yeah. Then Miguel comes in like, we wanted to show that Rhaenyra.
I love it. We are like absolutely hammering these guys, even though we love them so much.
Yeah, we watch too much inside the episodes. But yeah, we're drifting off. I think we should wrap it up.
We've been drifting off for like 10 minutes.
So if you made it this far, thank you very much for listening to us ramble about basically anything. See you all very soon for our episode 7 preview. Can't believe we're already 7 episodes in. And yeah, take care and see us later.